Dr. Magdalary.
And I'm Dr. Magdalary.
And today we're going to be talking about the human digestive system and how it works.
As well, we're going to be comparing a healthy human digestive system with that of an obese person who's had a gastric bypass surgery.
Let's go. Digestive system and how it works. Bob, why are you grabbing my hair?
Dr. Magdalary, what are you doing?
So I'm going to be talking about digestion steps very vaguely, and then Dr. Magdalary will speak in more depth about how it works. So basically it begins in the mouth with chewing and ends up in the small intestine. Food passes through the GL tract, mixes with digestive juices, which causes large molecules of food to break down into small molecules of food.
Thank you, Dr. Magdalary. I'll take it from here.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to be going into detail about each part of the digestive system. As well, here we're using Bob as our little dummy. So this is Bob. And Bob has all of our organs and all of our different parts of the digestive system that we have taped in. But for today, we're also going to be using a burger to show you how it's going to travel down the whole digestive system. It's going to begin in the mouth and in the small intestine, as Magdalary said. So today we're going to be using a hamburger to demonstrate digestion. So the hamburger enters through the mouth, and the teeth and the tongue are used to break down the food and mix it up. Located in our mouth, we have three different glands. We have the periotide gland, which is located in the cheeks. We have the submandibular gland, which is located on the floor of the mouth. We also have the sublingular gland, which is located under the tongue. The production of saliva will moisten the food and other parts of the digestion to make it easier to pass through. Once the food is mixed with the saliva, it becomes a bolus, which makes it easier to digest and enter into the esophagus. Our saliva breaks down carbohydrates using the amylase enzyme. Our mouths normally rest at a pH of 6.2 to 7.6. So once it's chewed and it's in the form of a bolus, it'll begin to pass down into the esophagus. The food enters the stomach through the epiglottis sphincter. The stomach is lined with muscular ridges and it's in a pear shape. The normal pH of the stomach is 1.5 to 3.5. The pH is so low due to the acidity of the stomach acid, which helps break down the food. Pepsin is produced by the stomach and it is the main gastroenzyme. This will break down proteins as well as lipids using lipase. Gastrin in the stomach, which stimulates the gastric glands to secrete pepsinogen and hydrochloric acid. Secretion begins when the food enters the stomach. During carbohydrate digestion, the bonds between glucose molecules are broken by saliva and pancreatic amylase. Chemical digestion in the stomach is when the stomach begins to break down the molecules in the food and gastric juices begin to digest protein. Mechanical digestion is when the muscular walls of the stomach begin to churn the bolus and mix it with the gastric juices and the digestive enzymes. The lower esophageal sphincter controls the passage of food and liquids from the esophagus to the stomach. The walls of the stomach narrow, creating the pyloric canal, which allow the partially digested food to enter the small intestine. After the partial digestion, the chyme passes into the liver. The liver is a very interesting organ. It has 7 main functions. It destroys old blood cells, it produces urine and bile, and as well it detoxifies blood cells after alcohol or drug consumption. It produces blood cells in the embryo. It regulates glucose levels as well as performs interconversion. The liver contains bile, which has bile acid, which emulsifies fat. It turns the fat into small droplets, which have a larger surface area. It breaks the fat down to fatty acids, which can be taken into the digestive tract. Bile also neutralizes stomach acid, making it the ideal pH to enter the small intestine. Damage to the liver from excessive drinking can cause a swollen liver, as well as redness. This can lead to a fatty liver, as well as hepatitis, liver fibrosis, and fibrosis. Another issue that can occur in the liver is with someone who is obese and they're eating too many fatty foods, which can as well lead to a fatty liver. Some unique features about the liver is that it's the largest internal organ. As well, the liver has over 500 distinct functions.
The role of the gallbladder. It holds bile produced in the liver until needed for digesting fatty foods in the duodenum of the small intestine. You can live completely fine without your gallbladder. The liver will still produce enough bile to digest food, but instead of being stored in the gallbladder, it drips continuously into your digestive system.
So after the food moves from the gallbladder into the pancreas. So the pancreas contains enzymes or digestive juices are secreted by the pancreas into the small intestine. The pancreas breaks down food that has left the stomach. It produces the hormone insulin and secretes it into the bloodstream to regulate glucose and sugar levels. So the function of the pancreas as an exocrine gland, it excretes enzymes to break down carbs, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acid, which are all found inside of a hamburger. The pancreas is an endocrine gland. It secretes the hormone insulin and glycogen to regulate Bob's glucose and sugar levels throughout the day. If the pancreas doesn't make enough insulin or doesn't make good use of it, the glucose builds up in your bloodstream. This leaves the cell needing energy. The cells are needing energy because you have too little glucose or too much glucose. This can lead to diabetes. There are two types of diabetes. There's diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2. Here are some facts about diabetes. Once the pancreas has done its job, the chyme continues down into the small intestine.
The liver sends bile to the gallbladder, which transfers the chyme into the duodenum. They can be digested by pancreatic and intestinal juices. Proteins turn into amino acids and carbs turn into glucose. This happens in the duodenum and the ileum, which are coated in villi. Villi helps to digest your food. So basically this is the villi, as you can see. And so basically we have epithelium, lacteal, and blood capillary in the villi. Small intestine has 3 parts to it. The first part is the duodenum or the duodenum. The duodenum is where most of the digestion occurs in the body. The second part is the duodenum, which most absorption of nutrients occurs. And the third part is the ileum, and the ileum is where important things in the body are absorbed. The small intestine is a 22-foot long tube that uses enzymes released by the pancreas, as well as bile from the liver. Associated organs with the small intestine is the gallbladder, the stomach, the liver, and the pancreas. pH of the small intestine ranges from about 6 to 7.4. After the food passes through the small intestine, it makes its way to the large intestine. Leftover fibers, waters, and dead cells that fell off during digestion end up in the large intestine, also known as the colon. The body gets rid of most of the leftover fluid through the intestinal wall. Then what is left is stool. The colon squeezes the stool into a pouch called the rectum, where it senses it expanding so the stool can exit the body through the anus. The large intestine is the last part of the digestive system before it goes through the rectum. It absorbs water through indigestible food matter and passes waste material from the body. The large intestine is made up of the cecum, the colon, the rectum, and the anal canal. Bacteria in the large intestine creates gas. Bacteria makes vitamin K, which plays an important role in blood clotting. Components of the large intestine composed of the ascending colon, the transverse colon, the descending colon, the sigmoid colon, the rectum, and the mucosa.
Okay, Bob, after a number of tests, we've come to the conclusion the best option for your severe obesity is a gastric bypass surgery. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a portion of the small intestine and putting it at the top of your stomach, creating a much smaller stomach so you'll be eating less.
Okay, so you're all in your gown and everything, so that's good. I just need a signature right here.
Okay, sure.
Perfect, thank you.
We're ready for surgery.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Just putting the IV in.
This portion of the small intestine here will attach it up to the top half of the stomach.
Okay.
Let's create the new stomach. Make sure it's all lined up. I'm gonna attach the small intestine to the miniature stomach pouch. Okay, I think everything's looking good, but I think we have to stitching back up.
Okay. Hello, Bob. It's the end of surgery. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Everything went very well.
We're really happy with the results of the surgery.
So, now Bob is trying to adjust a burger with his gastric bypass surgery. Everything up until the food goes into the esophagus will be the same, except for instead of entering the stomach, which is right here, it will bypass and go straight into the small intestine. All of his other organs are still there and still working very hard.
After the burger travels through all of the organs, it gets exited out from the rectum. Basically what the surgery did is we made a pouch so that his stomach is smaller so that he eats less and he can lose weight. Thank you for tuning in on Dr. Magdaleri's.
Next week we'll be talking about the harms of vaping in teens. Also, a quick thank you to our sponsor, Canada Dry.
Thanks guys, see you next week.
I'm not slacking on the job. I just enjoy Canada Dry.